Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Tarot Talks. We are continuing the conversation about the Major Arcana. So this is High Priestess 2, which is actually the third card because 0 is counted as a full, all-encompassing number in the tarot. There is so much in these two cards that I'm about to talk about, which is the High Priestess and the Empress. And in the last video, I did say that I was going to do the High Priestess and the Empress together. The reason being is because each feminine or masculine archetype also in and of itself is broken down into a feminine and masculine aspect, and so on and so forth. So everything within this world, whether it be male or female, also has male and feminine aspects of itself. And then those two aspects have male and feminine aspects of itself. It keeps breaking down from macro to micro, macro to micro, macro to micro, or macro to micro, 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 like smaller microcosms of a bigger macrocosmic concept. Okay, so the High Priestess and the Empress are two archetypes of the goddess, or the feminine aspect, and the High Priestess is the feminine aspect of the feminine aspect. So the reason being is she is the inner world and the Empress represents the outer world. Okay, so we're talking about the virgin side of the female aspect before she is impregnated by the magician. So these are concepts that are made to look like people so you can understand them a little more, but at the same time I feel like it kind of fucks with you because this is where we get that whole God as a person thing. And these aren't people. These are levels of consciousness. These are it's a process. So they're personifying a process, a conscious process. And there's so much within this card. Oh my God. I feel like this card, the Wheel of Fortune and the World card are the most esoteric cards in the tarot. And that's just my opinion. I feel like the imagery breakdown can just go on and on and on and on forever. So this is going to be a long video, y'all. So pull up your panties and get ready for the ride, because there is a fucking lot in here. And I'm going to try and, like, if I pause a little bit, I'm trying to look at my notes so I don't miss anything because there's so much here. All right, so let's start with the number 2. The number 1 was indicative of the I am, the infinite God creator. And the number 2 is indicative of the joining with the feminine aspect. And it also is represented in the pillars, okay? This is Boaz and Yakin, but yet it is also Bina and Chokma on the Tree of Life. Now, if you look behind her and you look at the pomegranates, which represent vaginas, so they have the lips on the side and the seeds in the middle, and it's almost like a portal. This is the portal between the portal, okay? So, like, it's like, just goes on and on. This is the gateless gate. She's the keeper of the gate, okay? So that gate behind her is actually the Tree of Life. If you look at the top pomegranate above her head, that is the top of the Tree of Life, and then Bina and Chokma on the sides, and then it keeps going down. So you can trace the Tree of Life on the shape of these pomegranates behind her. And then, so that is the gate into the outer world. And you must go through the vagina to get to the outer world. And that's our world that we're in right now. And I think it's funny because, just real quick, the High Priestess, she has pomegranates on her robe. So it's almost like when you are born of the portal of the vagina, you're wearing the blood of the vagina on your skin. So it's almost like kind of representative of being in the outer world and carrying that essence of the portal into the outer world with you. But we'll get to that. We'll get to the Empress in quite a few minutes. Okay. So this is a reference to Solomon's Temple. So Solomon's Temple held the 10 Commandments, and she's holding the Torah. And forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, because I am not an expert in Judaism, but she's actually holding the most sacred form of the Torah, which is the Sefer Torah or the Sefer Torah. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but the reason why it's the Sefer Torah is because it's in scroll form. So that was the most sacred version of the Torah, because it was handwritten. And part of it being outside of her robe, part of it being inside, it represents the esoteric and the exoteric. So you can read something and not get the full meaning of it until you reach the level of consciousness that's needed to understand what the fuck it's trying to say, okay? And that's representative of the tarot. And the name tarot comes from the Torah, which is the law, the book of life. It tells you how to live your life, and it gives you the keys to life. And it's the same with the tarot. You can practice tarot for years and years and years and understand it on kind of like a lower level of consciousness, which if you follow my videos, you'll see I give you the esoteric meanings and the exoteric meanings. And you won't really digest the esoteric meanings until you're at the level of consciousness to be able to eat it up and digest it. And honestly, I've been practicing for like almost 17 years now. And a lot of those years were on and off. So I didn't get the whole of what I was reading probably until about almost 3 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was on my deck outside, and it was a really sunny day, and it was just like a gate just opened up inside me. And then all of a sudden I was finally understanding what the fuck it was trying to say. I was finally digesting everything that I have eaten from the tarot. So it chooses you. If you don't stick with it, it won't give you, you will not be initiated, basically. You have to reach a certain level of consciousness to be given this information. And it's the same thing with like what they say with the Illuminati, like they have to show you, but they can't tell you. It's because every path is individual to the self, and you have to find it. You know, no one's going to give you that hidden pearl, that hidden gem. You have to find it, because it's not just about finding the gem. It's about the journey and all of the experiences and trials and tribulations that happen during that pathway. If you don't take the path, you can't understand the value of the gem that you're holding. And that's what this shit is all about. This is what it is. Okay, so her robes are blue, and in the esoteric, the colors of the masculine and feminine are black and white. Black being the male, the female, sorry, white being the male. But also blue is the color of the female and red is the color of the male. And in our outer world, that actually kind of got turned around because we are a reflection. Whereas pink, which is a mix of white and red, which would be the two colors of the male, came to be the feminine, and blue came to represent masculine, but it's actually the other way around. And so she is wearing blue, which is representative of consciousness of water. And then she has the crescent moon at her feet. And the crescent moon is the first phase where you can see the moon after the new moon. So it's something is being grown and it's not able to be seen yet. Something is gestating and it's not able to be seen. So not be able to be seen fully, actually. She also represents the subconscious, which is the most magical place within our being. Our consciousness as well as magical. And when those two are completely united, you're going to be able to manifest things within this realm that are unbelievable. But the reason why they talk about like programming and stuff like that, if you went down the rabbit hole and you're into like conspiracy theory and things like that, they say that TV programs your subconscious because we do not operate on a conscious level as human beings. We are asleep. So we are able to move and do and be things that are not, I would say, not that we're not choosing wisely or consciously to be these things, because we are told to be these things on a subconscious level. So your subconscious is a very magical place, and it's a place where things can be manipulated and worn. And so that's why we're talking about the phase of the moon here. It's where things are being worked on, and it's hidden. Most of it is hidden. So it's like we know our subconscious is there, but we can't see all of it, like the crescent moon. Also, we have the cross on her chest, which is the Greek cross. It's the equal armed cross. Number one, it's going to be about balance, and the whole fucking tarot is about balance, and it's all about 0 point energy. There's another, if you want to pull out all of the queens of the tarot, and this is including the High Priestess and the Empress, they're also queens of the tarot. You'll see the positioning of each queen is different, and you can't miss the positioning of the people in the tarot. That is one thing that also is going to be a key for you to understand, again, what the fuck is going on. You have to really pull apart these cards, man. You have to really, really look at them. She is the only one that is fully front-facing and completely present with her face and her whole entire body. That means she is at 0 point. She is complete in the middle of the gates for a reason, of these two pillars for a reason, because she is 0 point energy. She is the point where anything can be birthed from. She also wears the crown of Hathor. Some people will mistake these as the crescent moon, the full moon, and the waning moon, sorry. But it's the sun between the cow horns, which is indicative of Hathor, which is the mother of all gods and the mother of all creation. And she is the virgin also, which is somewhat relative on a higher level. Well, I don't know if it's higher or lower because the stars are kind of in our realm, but they're not. I don't know. This is one part that I don't know everything, but it's also related to Virgo, which is the virgin mother of all the stars. Virgo gives birth to everybody. She's the mother of it all. The Virgin Mother, which is Sophia, also in if you look at mythology. But Sophia is also wisdom, and she is the goddess of wisdom here. Let me just see if there's anything that I missed in my notes here. Okay, also interesting. The Torah holds 613 commandments of God, and then we have 10 commandments of God in Christianity. If you look at the numerology, 6 plus 1 plus 3 equals 10. So that's where that number comes from. Let's see what else we have here. Like I said, I don't want to miss anything. Yeah, I think we got everything here for the High Priestess. So again, there's so much stuff. And then the exoteric is going to be like a gestation period. It's going to be indicative of using your psychic powers, listening to your intuition, listening to your gut when you get this in a reading. When you get it inverted, it's going to be, you're not listening to your gut, you're not being knowledgeable, you're not being wise, you're not listening, you're not seeing the signs that the universe is presenting you, that type of thing. And also this card is ruled by the moon, which is the dark mother. So the moon and Venus is what we're talking about here. And within the realm of astrology, there are 3 females. Gaia, which is Earth, we're on it. And then we have the moon and Venus. So I always think it would be really cool to be an alien, and if aliens did astrology, to see what Earth represents and how Earth plays a part in their astrological get up or whatever, what have you. I think it would be real. I always think of that. I don't know. It's kind of bizarre. But anyway, so next up would be the High Priestess. So in this card, you're going to see that she's wearing a very loose robe. The fact that she's pregnant is not visual here. It is implied. In a lot of tarot cards, though, you're going to see her very pregnant or breastfeeding or pregnant and breastfeeding, which is representative of fertility. So then we have the 3 pillars here as the number 3, which is the joining of the god, the goddess, and the child of the goddess and the god appears now, or is beginning to appear, or is becoming visible. So there's the sigil of Venus next to her, and this card is ruled by Venus. We have the crown of 12 stars, which is the zodiac, and if you look at the shape of the stars, it's going to be the hexagram. So the hexagram, basically, God is a triangle, and then the reflection of God is creation, and that gives you your hexagram. But it also represents male and female coming together. Okay, but she is, and because she wears the crown of the stars, which are the hexagram, means that she's the crown of creation. She is the portal through which things have to come through. She is the gate of the reflection. And then everything is completely fertile around her. We have the water flowing behind her, which again is the presence of the sacred feminine. We also have the red throne that she sits on, which can also, if you ever witnessed a birth, you're sitting in a pool of blood. You're bleeding out, really, like profusely. So we have that as well, and then the presence of blood is the presence of life, and also death. So we have to understand that once something comes into the physical world, even though it has just been birthed, it begins to die. So we have that as well. We have the wheat, again, which is going to be representative here as the Virgin Mother. And I'm trying to look through my runes here. Let me see if I can pull it out. So Bethlehem, the house of bread, the place where Jesus is born, the letter B, which is Bet in the Hebrew alphabet, and the wheat that is related to the Virgin Mother. It all relates to the body of a woman being pregnant. So we have the breasts and the belly here. So I feel like that's a reference to the pregnancy and the place where things are born from. Again, this card is represented by Venus. If you look at her lips, she has red lips. That is a reference to, I believe, lust and enjoying the pleasures of life. And that's where you're going to get to the exoteric meaning of this card, which would be enjoying the fruits of your labor, bringing forth the fruits of your labor, sexual freedom, lust, and again, like enjoying the carnal pleasures of the body, enjoying music, enjoying food, enjoying things that in a lustful way that are that live in the material world. So let me see. Covered the wheat. I think that's really it for the Empress as well. And again, these two, I don't know if I can fit them both in the frame right now. These two are the inner and outer realms of the male, of the sacred feminine. So we have the inner, which is the consciousness, and then the outer, which is the part of her that brings forth things into creation. And again, if you look at male and female genitalia, you have the inner, which is the woman, and the outer, which is the male. So again, everything in the tarot is about sex and balance and the unification of the opposites. And now we're coming into alchemy here when we're talking about the unifications of the opposites. So that is going to conclude this episode of Tarot Talks. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I brought some enlightening information into your realm of consciousness. And I hope you guys continue to study and continue to look for information and books. Let me tell you, a lot of the stuff that I base my information on, not all of it, but a lot of the astrological aspects is going to be Tarot and Astrology by Corinne Kenner. She's going to give you the Golden Dawn meanings and then the astrological meanings. And she didn't make it up. I mean, it's what's assigned to the cards, but she provides a lot of information. I have a whole entire floor-to-ceiling library upstairs with occult books, and that's probably one of my favorite ones. It's one that I've referenced the most. It's got the most notes sticking out of it. It looks like a college kid's book if you pull it out of my library. And then I have a lot of other books that I use for reference as well. But that one is, like I said, the most helpful. So if you're looking for an A1 solid book, a go-to, I would say Tarot and Astrology, but you have to be ready for the astrological aspects. So for me, I feel like I would have never picked that book up in the beginning because you're gonna have to dedicate a whole another part of your brain to astrology and remembering astrological symbols and what they mean and energies that relate to certain signs. It's a lot. So if you're not ready for that part of the tarot yet, then don't pick it up because you're gonna put it back down and it's gonna probably collect dust in your library. So my advice to new readers is definitely take all of this information in and then come back to it once you look at other books, because you're gonna get so much more out of it again. Again, that comes with what I was saying earlier, which is you can listen to something but not digest it until you're at a certain level of consciousness. But it always helps because it breaks your consciousness open a little bit to hear this information. But learn the Major Arcana first. Those are the most important cards. And if you get them in a reading, that's going to be the major lessons and the major issues that need to be talked about in the reading. And the other cards can play out around those Major Arcana cards. And don't worry about reversals, because reversals will fuck your head up until you know all of the cards upright. Again, so I hope this information was helpful. I try and be as helpful as possible and try and get you through this learning process as quick and efficiently, and try to add stuff that I didn't see in the videos and the information that I was taking in when I was learning. And again, like, comment, share, talk to me. I have no friends that read tarot or anybody that I could really talk about this stuff with. So I welcome comments and I welcome the conversation. Thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you have a blessed day.